launches the first wave of 189 pilots from Japan's first air fleet, led by Japanese Captain Fushida. The unprovoked surprise attack was so complete that the coded success signal Tora was sent back to the carrier task force before the first bombs fell. A single remote radar station had spotted the incoming raiders, but mistook them for a flight of B-17s due in from the mainland. The B-17s arrived, and like America herself, find themselves in a war that had not yet been declared. The attack was from the Japanese aircraft carriers Akagi, Akaga, Hiru, Soryu, and the two new carriers, the Shokuku and the Suikoku. The plan was simple: destroy the Pacific Fleet. The raid lasted for a little over 2 horrific and gruesome hours. Yes, you have a front row seat in the Pacific Theater as the story of the attack on Pearl Harbor unfolds right in front of you. When the first bombs began to fall, pilots all over the island jumped into action. At Wheeler Field, Lieutenant Philip Rasmussen woke to the sound of bombs, jumping out of bed, strapping on a .45 caliber pistol over his purple pajamas, and ran to a working Curtiss P-36 Hawk. He was joined by 4 more P-36 pilots: Lewis Sanders, Harry Brown, Gordon Sterling, and Malcolm Michael. They took off to engage the attacking Japanese and managed to shoot down a few of their Zeros, Valves, and Kates. The enemy number of aircraft were incredibly overwhelming. Meanwhile, elsewhere on the island, Kenneth Taylor and George Welsh were just returning from an all-night dinner, dance, and poker party. These brave pilots, still in their formal dress clothes, raced to a couple of P-40s, got them fueled and armed, and took off. They quickly found themselves in the middle of a real battle. These 2 pilots caught up with the Japanese close to Pearl Harbor and Hickam Field, and engaged the Zeros, Valves, and Kates with rounds from their .30 caliber machine guns. However, quickly ran out of ammunition. Luckily, they were able to land at Wheeler Field. They refueled and reloaded with .30 and .50 caliber ammo and took off once again to fight the Japanese. The 2 pilots are credited with downing a total of 6 Japanese warplanes before their own planes were disabled. Both pilots received a Distinguished Service Cross for their actions that infamous day. A total of 502 U.S. planes were on the ground at the beginning of the attack. Sadly, 188 were totally destroyed, 159 damaged, and 155 aircraft lay on the ground at various stages of disrepair. Right in front of you, show center, is our P-36 Hawk. The first wave of 189 Japanese Zeros, Valves, and Kates hammered Hawaii for almost an hour. They killed 171 aircraft to continue the strafing, bombing, and dropping of torpedoes for yet 70 minutes. Yes, that's a total of 360 enemy warplanes. As the attack proceeded at Pearl Harbor and Hickam Field, the devastation was horrifying. On the eastern coast, in the center of the harbor, 9 battleships lay at anchor in California, Oklahoma, West Virginia, Tennessee, Maryland, Nevada, Pennsylvania, Utah, and Michigan. Luckily at the time, our 3 Pacific aircraft carriers were out at sea. First, the Japanese hit with Kate torpedo bombers. The initial wave of Kates hit 5 of our battleships: the Oklahoma, California, Nevada, West Virginia, and the Utah. These Kates were specially equipped with shallow-running torpedoes specifically designed for the attack on Pearl Harbor. You see, the shallow waters of Pearl Harbor would not allow the use of normal deep-running torpedoes, which leaves no question that this was a raw and well-thought-out plan and not a surprise attack. Then came the Val dive bombers, armed with 1,700 pounds of armor-busting projectiles, originally made for 16-inch battleship guns, but were converted to aerial weapons. These planes dived down onto the Nevada and the Arizona. Anti-aircraft fire cleared the valves away from the Nevada on the first wave. But unfortunately, the Arizona was not lucky. A at that. Years later, he remembered Thompson's tenacity and fighting spirit, describing the lone Marine as the bravest American I've ever seen. All over the island, soldiers were bringing their weapons to bear and fight. Anything they could get working. 45 caliber pistols or Springfield rifles, and in some cases, our soldiers were able to get 30 and 50 caliber belt-fed machine guns into action, bringing down numerous marauding Japanese Zeros, Valves, and K's. Meanwhile, at Bellows Airfield on the northeastern coast of the island, more U.S. Army pilots were racing to their P-40s. Unfortunately, these Japanese Zeros appeared at the same time and started screaming. P-40 pilot was killed as he stepped in his cockpit. Two other P-40s were shot down just as they got off the ground. Flight of 12 B-17s coming from the main finally arrived and were immediately attacked by the Zeros. Unfortunately, in all the confusion, the B-17s were shot at by friend and foe. The frightened crews landed wherever they could. One of them in a pineapple field not far from Hickam Field. A B-17 pilot, Major Landon, trying to land, said what a hell of a way to enter a war. Out of gas, unarmed, and no place to land. Amazingly though, she made it to Hickam Field. Yes, we've taken you back to that fateful day, December 7th, 1945. At the conclusion of the Japanese attack on Pearl Harbor, more than half of America's entire naval fleet had been destroyed or damaged. Nearly 2,400 Americans were killed, over 1,200 wounded, and at the time, 960 people were missing. 188 aircraft were destroyed, 159 damaged, just 155